If it's happening in New York, New Jersey, or Long Island, hear about it with Joe Piscopo. Mornings, 6 to 10 on AM 970. The Answer.
In the morning, 5 minutes after 7 o'clock in New York, with Joe and Frank and Al and Debbie. Great to have you with us. I love having you with us on AM970theanswer.com around the United States of America. We are on YouTube, we're on Facebook, and we're streaming live. Simon Owen is kind enough to join us. Simon is the noted correspondent for Fox News Radio. He is live from London, where we saw a possible another attempted terror attack. Simon, welcome back to the show. How's everything going on over there in London, Simon Owen?
Morning, Joe. Yeah, this happened right outside the British Parliament in central London, so a busy part of town. Police say it was 7:37 in the morning, so right in the middle of rush hour. And witnesses have described seeing a car driving fast against traffic, hitting pedestrians and cyclists, and then crashing into a security barrier. There are these thick black metal and concrete barriers that run outside the Parliament building, and that's where this car ended up. Police are saying that 3 people were injured, one of them seriously, and the driver has been arrested, and police now confirm he is being held on suspicion of terrorist offences, and this is being treated as a terrorist attack.
They don't, and the police there, and forgive me for being so ignorant in this regard, Simon, but the police there, they're armed. They're armed now. Are they at least carrying weapons in London these days? Because I know for a while they were not.
Well, British police are not routinely armed, but you do see more and more of them with weapons around London than in years gone by, and that is a response to changing security threats. Routinely, though, police here remain unarmed. That is what they consistently say they want and they believe is best for their role. But in London, which does face a different kind of threat to other parts of the country, there are armed response vehicles that you do see sort of parked up in streets as a matter of routine, and they have a protocol now. If it's in central London, like this is today, to be on the scene within 60 seconds of an incident unfolding. So there are many more armed police than years gone by. Your standard, the traditional one is the Bobby on the beat. You know, that Bobby on the beat does not have a gun still, but there are many more armed police than there used to be, and I think most people who live here, they've kind of got used to seeing police, particularly at sites like train stations or outside Parliament. They can be fairly heavily armed these days.
You know, Simon, not to be over dramatic, has Mayor Khan lost control of that city a little bit?
Well, no. I mean, I realise that Sadiq Khan has become a bit of a bogeyman, certainly for President Trump to pick holes with, but he's not responsible for police funding and policy and that sort of thing. All of that is decided by the government. But certainly he is facing a time in office that has been punctuated by a number of terrorist attacks. I don't think he can can't be blamed for them. I know he gets a bit of stick sometimes. But overall, you know, the mayor's job in British cities has limited powers. It's certainly a fairly powerful role. But I think if you came over here and asked people what they thought of him, he's still got pretty through-the-roof high approval ratings. People like him.
Wow. Simon Owen with Piscopo in the Morning. We appreciate you taking your valuable time, Simon, on the air with us. What's the next step in this investigation now with this guy that apparently plowed down some people in London?
Well, I mean, it happened about 5 hours ago now, and the police were quickly on the scene, and, you know, we've seen footage of the man being detained, and there doesn't appear to be a great deal of resistance. He's not shouting or saying anything. He seems to be led away. But we've just had an update from the police who say that at the moment they're still not sure who he is. They're still working to figure out his identity, let alone find out what his motive might potentially be. And they say he is, at the moment, not cooperating with officers. Now, what police are saying is that this does appear to be a deliberate act, but as for who the guy is and why he did this, he's not speaking as far as we can tell. Yeah,
Simon, forgive me for getting personal, but I'm a fan. You do such a great job, and I'm a radio geek, Simon. You know, I love radio, and you're great on the air. Where are you from originally?
I'm from England, but outside of London. I've been based here for about 10 years. So over the years, when things have, the security situation has changed here in the past decade or so. But I've been here about 10 years.
Yeah. And in Europe, what's happening in Turkey? By the way, I know you cover mostly Europe over there. What's happening in Turkey? And then how's everything going with these sanctions against Turkey? Do you know?
Well, I mean, Turkey is kind of teetering at the moment, or its economy is at least. I don't think you can say it's in an economic crisis yet, but there are concerns among investors that it might be quite soon. And its currency, the lira, has lost something like 40% of its value this year to date. It is kind of two-pronged. Investors say that the primary reason is concerns about the policies of President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, but there is an impact of this being had from the worsening relations with the United States. Turkey is a long-standing NATO ally, but President Trump has imposed sanctions and tariffs in recent weeks. As an American pastor continues to be held under house arrest in Turkey. He is accused of plotting to overthrow the Turkish government. He denies any wrongdoing. The latest this morning, President Erdogan has been outlining one idea he has to hit America in response to these sanctions, and he is proposing a boycott of American electrical products. He name-checked the Apple iPhone. He basically called on people to buy Samsung phones instead, or maybe Turkish brands, and that's kind of been his pitch so far throughout this potential crisis. He's very much calling for it. We're all in this together. Let's dig deep for Turkey, because he says an economic war is being waged.
Yeah, Simon, appreciate you taking the time. So right now there's a crash. We don't know about the extent of the injuries regarding that crash this morning. Yes.
Well, I mean, the numbers have changed slightly, but in the middle of London, you can very quickly get people to world-class hospitals, and so the figure we have from police is 3 people injured, one of them seriously.
All right, Simon, always appreciate you jumping on the air with us, and let's talk soon, and appreciate you being there for us, sir.
Thanks, Joe.
Okay, Simon Owen right there, correspondent for Fox News Radio, live from London. Another car crash, another terror attack. And, I didn't want to put Simon on the spot because he's such a good objective guy, Frankie. He's objective when he reports, but it seems to be this Mayor Khan who butts heads with Donald Trump. And I didn't mean to put Simon on the spot, but it seems to have lost control. There's more terror attacks. London, and forgive me if I'm being dramatic here, and maybe I am, but maybe I'm not getting the right facts, but it just seems like there's more terror attacks, and more, they're trying to take over, and that the town seems to be losing its identity. Am I being dramatic in that regard? In London, seems to be like more terror attacks taking over, even more so than certainly anywhere in America.
Well, certainly there are more terrorist attacks than there were 20 years ago. But if a terrorist is determined to attack innocent people, I don't know that you can necessarily blame the mayor for that. I mean, it seemed like the emergency response to this was pretty good. I mean, September 11th, perfect example. I mean, we can't blame Mayor Giuliani for, the terrorists trying to, go into the World Trade Center, or the lunatic that drove a car along the west side of the highway here. You can't blame Mayor de Blasio for that.
It's true, but who's still alive? This guy's still alive.
Right.
Why don't we hear about these guys? They catch these guys, that's it? Are they interrogating this guy? Do we know what the situation is?
Well, he's been charged, and he's not cooperating with authorities. So I don't know what his legal status is there. I'll have to look into that one.
Everybody knows this guy. Now, everybody knows he can do a radio show. Joe Piscopo. Mornings, 6 to 10 on AM 970. The Answer.